Hi Libra. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for December 2019. For you Libra, this month involves a lot of activity in your third and fourth houses of communication and home, and also a new moon, a full moon, and a solar eclipse, and some interesting activity from Jupiter. But first, Julia, what are your thoughts about Mercury, Venus, and Mars this month for Libra?
Sure. Well, hey, Libra. First, I want to talk about Venus, which is a planet which is very, very dear to you because it's your ruling planet.
Hmm.
And Venus is the planet of art, beauty, pleasure, and relationships. And she begins this month in your fourth house, which is the house of family and home. So, being the planet of relationships, wherever we have Venus is where we like to socialize the most that month. So, in your fourth house, you may feel like relating a lot more to the people that you live with. It could be your housemates, it could be your family members, but it's less of a kind of going out there into the world to meet people and talk, and more like staying indoors with the people who are you're very familiar with. And since Venus is also the planet of pleasure, you'll just enjoy a lot more time, spending it at home, maybe decorating your home because Venus likes to beautify things as well. Next, I want to talk about is the planet Mars, which is the planet of activity and passion. And it's going to be in the sign of Scorpio all month, which corresponds to your natal second house. The second house is the house of money. And wherever we have Mars is where we're really, really driven. So you might be very focused in putting your energy to making more money. Maybe that means growing your business or finding ways to get more in your paycheck. But Mars can have its other side to it, where it can be a bit combative as well. So you might run into more conflict around money too this month. And the third planet I want to talk about is Mercury, which begins in your third house, which is actually the house that Mercury is strongest in, because that's the house of communication, and that is exactly what Mercury does. So since Mercury really likes to be in this house, it's going to be a really good time where all of your mental functions will be much more stimulated than usual. So if you have any writing projects, if you do any type of speaking, if you have a blog or a blog, school reports, that's going to be a really good time for getting out a lot of excellent sort of mental work, especially with writing and speaking.
Mm.
And then when Mercury enters Capricorn, which is your fourth house on December 28th, you're going to be a lot more focused on communicating with people in your home life, maybe with family members. It's a really good time to get the family together and just kind of talk things through and smooth over any issues that you may have had with them, because that Mercury function is going to be working really well in the place of family and home. And what else do you see, Jamie?
Well, I noticed that Venus started in the fourth house, and there was that nesty vibe that you talked about, but it moves into the fifth house later in the month, and I wondered if you have any thoughts about that.
Oh, that's true. So when Venus moves into the fifth house, that's the house that Venus really, really loves to be in. The traditional astrologers call it the house of her joy. So after spending all that fun, warm, cozy time at home with loved ones, you will want to go out and maybe enjoy some fun and amusements with your partner. And if you're actually not partnered, then that would be a really good time for dating.
Yeah, definitely. It sort of puts me in mind of like do all that nesting at home and then go out and spring out and party or, get more social. It seems really nice.
Hmm.
So we have a full moon in Gemini happening on December 11th, and really here it is. There's the sun in Sagittarius in the third house, and the moon up here in the ninth house. And the moon in Gemini this month has a bit more stressful of a vibe than last month's full moon. This month's full moon involves a square to Neptune. And I think, Julia, when you and I made that video about it, we talked about this having a kind of a vibe of free floating anxiety. Because when Neptune is involved, sometimes it just feels like things slow down to a crawl. It can feel like you're in a state of suspended animation, and things that you wish and hope would move forward are just kind of stagnating. And the moon in Gemini likes to think a lot, and particularly likes to think about feelings. A full moon is a time when usually emotions run high, but when that moon is in Gemini, there can be a tendency to overthink all of the feelings that you're having, and then throw Neptune into the mix, and you've got this sort of generalized theme of like, well, there's something around here that I should be thinking about and I should be figuring out, but I'm just not sure what is going on. And so if that mood overtakes you around the full moon, which peaks on December 11th, but we'll probably be feeling it all the way from the 10th to the 12th, if that mood overtakes you, don't worry about it so much. Don't overthink it so much. And remember, this moon falls in your ninth house, and that is the house of the big picture, drawing on your philosophy of life, stepping out, panning out, and taking the big view. And that can do something to allay the worry. Now, a little bit later in the month, or really quite a bit later in the month, and just in time for Christmas, we have got a new moon, which is also a solar eclipse. And this falls in your fourth house, which Julia talked about before. It's the house of home, family, domestic life, heritage, and roots. And look at this pile of Capricorn that's happening there. There's a very big nesty vibe going on, and just in time for the winter holiday. Now, you don't have to celebrate Christmas in order to experience some of the challenges that are inherent in this new moon and eclipse. An eclipse is a time when we're forced to look at our shadow. We're forced to look inward. We're forced to look behind ourselves at the things that we don't usually make ourselves aware of every day. This particular one is in Capricorn, and so because it's in Capricorn, there might be themes of career or authority. Because it's in the fourth house, there might be themes of home and family. And so, if you are spending time during the winter holiday with family, there may be things that pop up that cause you to look at sides of yourself that you don't look at every day. And it could be uncomfortable. There is a saving grace, though, which is Jupiter's presence here. Jupiter is in early Capricorn. It's just moved into Capricorn at that point. It hooks up with this eclipse right there in your fourth house. Now, Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion, of fun, of basically, Jupiter transits through signs bring to that sign's area of life a feeling of confidence, a feeling of positivity and hope, and often opportunities and luck. So Jupiter passing into your fourth house brings a lot of positivity, hopefulness, and lightness to this eclipse, and really to that arena of life for the whole rest of the year while Jupiter's in Capricorn. So I think that even if you are forced to look at some stuff that's kind of dark that you'd rather not look at, the presence of Jupiter says you can grow from this. It's going to turn out all right. And you can actually even make it into a very positive experience for your family and your relationship with them. So I think that has a lot of sweetness to it. Now, because of all this activity in your fourth house and the fact that next month many of these planets are going to move on into your fifth house of children, if you were thinking about getting a reading this month, you would probably want to get a family soul group reading to just look into, what are your relationships with your family members all about? Why did you select these parents to be born to? How did you end up in this family, even if these aren't your, genetic parents? And what can you do from your position in the family to have everything go better between all family members? And that reading's a great way to address all of those things. I think that's all we have for you today, Libra. I hope you enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed making it for you. And we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.